Hi, folks. Um, Back for another one. This one's right on the heels of the last one. Feeling inspired. Um, Probably because I was talking about alt country, and that is a genre that I can do video after video on. But I had the idea of doing a video sort of um, looking back at the old and what most would probably consider, who followed this genre, tired argument of Jay versus Jeff. I'm going to call this Jay and Jeff. Um, so, as anyone who followed that movement, or whatever they call it, of the 90s and into the 2000s knows that Jeff Tweedy and Jay Farrar were really instrumental in kicking off the alt country or Americana movement, which has led us to folks like Jason Isbell and just a whole host of great artists that are still around today. But when I was living in New York, which is, wow, it's 15 years ago now, my friends and I, we used to spend nights out at bars late talking about who's better, Jay or Jeff. I have sort of come to the conclusion that I love them equally. I really do. Even their work post Uncle Tupelo, in Uncle Tupelo, they're just both extraordinary artists, songwriters. Jay's kind of stayed on the same sort of Americana path, whereas Jeff has obviously done a lot of experimental stuff, but I love them both equally. But I figured I would rank their records, including Uncle Tupelo, including their solo records, and obviously the Sunvolt and Wilco records. I did not include sort of other bands that they were in, so outside of Uncle Tupelo, Sunvolt, Wilco, and solo. So Golden Smog, Loose Fur, that stuff doesn't count. I did include collaborations, which is sort of like being in another group, but they played pivotal roles in those collaborations. So Bragg and Guthrie, no, Bragg and Wilco, that counts. The Woody Guthrie records that they put out. So did top 15. I think they have a total of 20 to 25 records in all, dating back to 1990. Unbelievable. 30th anniversary. Maybe this is what they wanted on their 30th anniversary, somebody to finally rank them. So that's my job tonight at 10:40 on a Friday night. Just watched a movie, was going to call it a night, felt like listening to some records, and now we're doing this. So I'm going to do the top 15, from 15 down to 1. One that did not make it, but I still have to mention, is Sunvolt's Straightaways. Sunvolt's second record. I adore this record. It just missed the cut. It could easily be in the top 10. This is the reissue that came out on Record Store Day. I have the original as well, but it wasn't chronological. It's lying around in some piles somewhere. So just want to mention this, number 16, Sunvolt's Straightaways. Now the top 15. Number 15, which I listened to tonight prior to watching a movie and realized how much I love this record, and it should probably be a lot higher than 15. But for purposes of getting through this, let's just leave it at the 15 slot. The Whole Love by Wilco. This came out, I think it was 2011. I love this record. I think One Sunday Morning, which is like a crazy opus, it's like 11 minutes long, could be the best song that Jeff Tweedy's ever written. I know the writer George Saunders did a New York Times op-ed on just the song, One Sunday Morning. He's quite the fan. This record's great. Wildly underrated. The most underrated record that Jeff Tweedy's ever put out, I would say. And a record that I still listen to regularly. So number 15, The Whole Love by Wilco. Number 14, back to Uncle Tupelo, their third record, March 16th and 20th, 1992. As I mentioned in a previous video, produced by the great Peter Buck. This is all mostly a lot of traditional songs, some songs written by Jay and Jeff, but a lot of, it's a very stripped down, sort of Woody Guthrie-esque collection of songs, but just top to bottom, every song on here is great. Wait Up, Black Eye, Moonshiner, the great traditional track, Wipe the Clock. It's crazy that this is number 14. With a lot of artists, this would be number 1 easily. Out of 5 stars, this is a 4.5 star record. Shows the depth of the material these guys have put out. Number 14. Sticking, same band, What Got It Started. Number 13, Uncle Tupelo's No Depression. The first record that they put out together, 3 years into their tenure as a band. I believe they got started in '87, and this came out in 1990 on Rockville Records, reissued on Legacy in 2012, Sony Legacy. A great, great record. Also 4.5 out of 5 stars, almost close to 5. I should also show this. In 2000, I went back to Boston after I went to college there, and I went back with my girlfriend at the time, and we went to a record store, no surprise. I believe this record store was called Nuggets, down on off of Com Ave, I think. And I would always go to the U section to see if there was something, a single. Uncle Tupelo singles, 7-inch singles were very hard to find then. And I found this, which is an advanced copy of No Depression. It says WNBR, I believe that's a radio station in Boston. This is the press release on the back. So this is as early as it gets. I paid $6 for this. I remember when I brought it up to the cashier, I was trembling because I got an advance of their first record. And he said this had been brought in 1 hour prior, and he should have charged $599 as opposed to $5.99 because he knew somebody would swipe it up immediately, and I did. $6. It's not for sale. Maybe one day. So that's Uncle Tupelo's No Depression. I just gotta see where I am in the ordering here. No Depression. We're on to number 12. Sunvolt's Okima and the Melody of Riot. I would put this where, and I noted that Wilco's most underrated record is The Whole Love. This is Jay Farrar's most underrated record. Great, great record in response to the George Bush presidency, at least some of the songs. The song Jet Pilot is clearly about George Bush, and I highly recommend you give a listen. It's one of the better political songs of the last 20 years. A fantastic full-on rock record, and maybe the best band record post the original lineup, which disbanded in 96, 99 or so. And this came out, it doesn't say the original. I think it was like 2005, I believe this came out. Tremendous record. Give it a listen. Number 11, many will probably be surprised that it's not a lot higher, but it's a record that's taken me many years to get into. I do like it a lot, but purists consider this, some consider it Jeff's best record. A Ghost Is Born, the Wilco record that followed Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, the first record without Jay Bennett. Came out in 2004 on Nonesuch. Some funky artwork going on in there. Reissued by Rhino. Everything that they reissue is phenomenal. I have friends that work there, and what a label. So A Ghost Is Born, coming in at number 11. Number 10 is Jay Farrar's collaboration with Ben Gibbard, One Fast Move or I'm Gone. Fell way under the radar, got almost no press, which I thought it would, given Ben Gibbard from Death Cab for Cutie was paired up with Jay on this. This record is music from Jack Kerouac's Big Sur. A tremendous album, 5 stars. We're now everything going forward is 5 stars, I guess. California Zephyr, All in One, One Fast Mover, I'm Gone, the title track, San Francisco, Big Sur. This is just such a great record. I listen to it all the time, and it has a special place for me because I love Big Sur. I go down there quite a bit. Just went a couple weeks ago. That is at number 10. Gotta keep checking my list. We're now into the top 10. Coming in at number 9, the J. Farrar solo record, Sebastopol, also about California. This came out early 2000s. It was around 2002 or so. I didn't like this record when it came out. I think I was just bummed that Sunvolt weren't together anymore, because they were from 98 to 05, I think they were on hiatus. But this record is insanely good. And he has a great backing band, Matt Pence from Centromatic, I believe. John Worster, and some of the best songs Jay's ever written. I absolutely adore this record, and you should listen to it. Coming in next, closing in, number 8 is the Wilco and Billy Bragg record, the first one, Mermaid Avenue, with Wilco's most famous song, I guess you could call it, California Stars. Anybody who doesn't know the story, there's Woody on the back. These songs were written by Woody Guthrie. I think a lot of them were written, if I remember the story correctly, on his deathbed when he was dying in Brooklyn. And Nora Guthrie invited Billy Bragg and Wilco to come and put music to these lyrics that never had music put to them and were never songs. They were just lyrics. And what an unbelievable job they did in making this record. They made a second volume, and there was a third that was sort of mixed, sort of B-sides and stuff. And then Jay Farrar, as luck would have it, with Jim James, who else? Anders Parker and Will Johnson also did a tribute, or did a Woody Guthrie record that I believe was similar, putting music to lyrics. Mermaid Avenue, incredible record. I went to Mermaid Avenue in Brooklyn with my brother maybe 20 years ago. We took a photo under the Mermaid Avenue sign. Pretty big fans. Next, number 7. One of those records that really changed everything for me. Being There, Wilco's Being There, their second album. This record, I have 3 vinyl copies. I have one that came out when the record first came out in 96, which has a great story tied to it, which I'll maybe tell you in a second. This is the reissue that came out in 2009 on Nonesuch, and then Rhino reissued AM, Wilco's first record, and Being There as deluxe box sets, and I have that as well. The first one, Being There, or the first Being There, that came out in 96, I was working at a music publishing company in New York City, and word had spread amongst my friends that there were advances of it. I called every record store in New York from my work desk, my little cubicle. I finally got in touch with finally connected with a record store who had a copy in Hoboken, New Jersey. I told my boss I was sick. I am not one who leaves work often for ridiculous reasons. I needed this record so badly that I left my job I was working on 33rd and Lexington in Manhattan, got on the subway, then got on the path into New Jersey, and then I literally ran down the street to get a copy of Being There. Got on the train, took the train home to New Jersey, about an hour, and just listened to it on my record player all night. It's amazing that it's only number 7. Is that what I said? I gotta... 1 second. Gotta pull up my list here. Number 7. But man, that was a quite the effort to get this record. Number 6, Wide Swing Tremolo, Son Volt's third record, 1998. Jay Farrar at his peak, in my eyes, or close to his peak, just in terms of sort of marrying sort of Neil Young and Crazy Horse, guitar charging, rock and roll with just gorgeous songwriting. This record doesn't get talked about nearly as often as it should. This tremendous opening with Straight Face, Driving the View. If wherever you are this weekend, if it's pretty out and you're going for a drive, listen to the song Driving the View by Son Volt. That will make your afternoon. Next, at number 5, Wilco's Summer Teeth. Their third record, great shot on the back of the band. What appears to be like outside of a DMV or something. This is his pop record. Very much Beach Boys feel. Love these shots inside. I used to have a poster of this, and these like crazy shots of the band, like in these weird, like it looks like one of them's in a subway station, one's at Ken Coomer's at a gas station. Pop masterpiece. 5 stars. All right, closing in. Number 4. For many, many years, probably through 2010, I always cited this as my favorite record of all time. It's up there, but it's in the top 10 still. A transformative record, which I talked about on one of my previous videos. Uncle Tupelo's second record, Still Feel Gone. I remember getting a copy of this on vinyl for a colleague of mine at my last job. He didn't even have a record player. I just thought he should have a copy. I should keep doing that, although this is now getting harder and harder to find. So Uncle Tupelo's 1991 masterpiece at number 4, Still Feel Gone. 3 left. Number 3. If you were to poll, I don't know, other people who would do this, which would probably be nobody in the world, would do this list. Almost most people would probably have this at number 1. Certainly critically, it's probably at number 1. Largely considered one of, if not the best record of the 2000s. That could even be 2000 to present. A lot of folks would have this at number 1. Wilco's Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, which came out in 2002, really came out in 2001, but due to label problems, it was held up. Unbelievably almost creepy songs, because there's a lot of imagery that connects to 9/11, and I was in New York during 9/11, and I remember when it happened, these songs, which were already out, they weren't released yet, but friends of mine and we had been trading it around, the early demos of Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. Tall Buildings Shake, Voices Escape, singing sad, sad songs. A lot of people, once it finally did come out, didn't realize that these songs were written prior to 9/11, which is still, I still get a chill when I think about it. I saw Wilco 2 weeks after 9/11. They played 2 shows at Town Hall in New York City. I believe it was September 26th and 27th of 2001. First show, I was in the first row. It was seated. And I can't recall, maybe it was just me being in my head, but seeing a band look more uneasy, or look as uneasy as Wilco looked when they took the stage. The Town Hall's a beautiful venue. The hall was very quiet, and there were beautiful shows, but they were eerie. But on a positive note, they made a phenomenal record, Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, coming in at number 3. So there's only 2 left. Number 2, this is an original copy, which was extremely hard to find. I think I had mentioned in an earlier video that I found, I once went poking around for a copy of this just because I wanted a second copy, and I believe I found a copy on Amazon for $1,000. It was that hard to find. It was later reissued, but still an original of Son Volt's first record, Trace. I listened to this yesterday while driving in my car, top to bottom, and I was reminded of what a tremendous, tremendous record this is. I love everything, again, like I said, that Jay and Jeff have ever done. They have different places sort of in my heart, and memories of my friends in New York City, and my closest friend from college, who I'm going to see in a couple weeks. I told the story about he and I going to see Son Volt at the Bottom Line. But this, perfection, as good as music gets, to my ears at least. Son Volt's Trace at number 2. And number 1, it's probably clear to the fans out there, is Uncle Tupelo's final record, Anodyne. Their first record on a major record label, after being on Rockville Records, an indie, for their first 3. This is on Sire Warner. Unbelievable that they recorded this record and then broke up right afterwards. Every song on here is perfect, including Give Back the Key to My Heart, which is, I believe, a Doug Somm cover. Doug Somm. And Doug Somm appears on that track. New Madrid, as I mentioned, was the first song that I heard by any of these bands, and I ran to Tower Records with my buddy Brian, and we bought this record, Anodyne. There's the inside cover. This was just reissued, I think, on Rhino, which would be no surprise since they reissue everything awesome. It's on clear vinyl. Well, maybe it's Rhino. Of course, Rhino. I just bought this last weekend. I have the original that came out, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, 2009, but this was reissued. And I saw it in a record store last Friday and picked it up because I need the clear vinyl as well. So that's Jay and Jeff. Those 15 records, you cannot go wrong. There was obviously a lot of great records that these guys put out that did not make my top 15. Wilco's AM, Wilco's recent record, Ode to Joy, Jeff Tweedy's Warmer record. I like Warm and Warmer, but Warmer I really, really love, and I think if I were to do this a year from now, it could be in the top 10. Son Volt's The Search is one that may have, or one of Jay Farrar's top 2 or 3 songs, and Methamphetamine, heartbreakingly beautiful track. Didn't make it, but those are, you can't go wrong with these guys. So Mermaid Avenue Volume 2 is also great. But hopefully we can now put to rest the Jay versus Jeff. It's Jay and Jeff. As you can see, it was almost equally distributed, and that was not intentional. I tried to be honest as to where I thought they landed in terms of the top 15. And in the next video, I think we will move on from alt country, at least for a week or so. But thanks for watching. Uncle Tupelo's Anodyne, number 1.